Guys, I recently got to play in chess.com's Bullet Brawl. I believe it's held once a week, and this is my first time playing in it. And pretty far into the tournament, I end up getting paired up against none other than Hikaru Nakamura. Now, this is the first time I've ever played an online game, or just a game of chess in general, and saw that my opponent had a rating in the 3200s. You hear about the 22s and the 23s, but the 3200s? That's a different level. That's a different level, right? So here in this case, I am playing with the white pieces. This is the first time I've ever played Hikaru. And yeah, maybe I'll continue to play him from time to time in the Bullet Brawl segment. But yeah, I mean, it was a lot of fun. And at the end of the day, right, when a game like this starts, you kind of know what's going to happen. At least I do. I mean, you know, you're trying your best. But what are the chances of me beating a 3200? Probably pretty low. But at one point, the opening theory that I'm going to show here, these ideas, gets me a nearly +2 advantage for the white side. I was better. I knew I was better. And then, of course, I fumbled it away. And, you know, when you fumble the football in chess, Hikaru's going to pick it up. Okay, so in this case, I play the move of pawn to e4, and I see d5, the Scandinavian variation. As y'all probably know, right, I play this move knight c3. I released a course on this. I really am a big fan of this move. I don't think I'm ever going to play anything else. I don't think I'm ever going to take or push or play d4 or play the Tennyson. I really like knight c3. If black pushes, I can swing my knight over to g3. If black takes, I can play the move of d3 there. Really a Charlotte Gambit, but for the white side. But in this case, Hikaru goes to the move knight f6. Now, this is the Alekhine's defense Scandinavian variation. Now, we're no longer in a Scandinavian defense, but at Alekhine's defense. And in this case, you can capture on d5. You can push. I cover this in my course, but in the game here, I end up playing e5. Now, there's really 3 moves here for black that are considered to be good. Pushing the pawn to d4, playing knight e4, or bringing this knight back to d7. In the game, we have knight f d7, and I now play e6 with the Spielmann Gambit. This gambit is a ton of fun. Let me know if you want to see more content on this gambit. I've been playing it a ton, and it really can get great results for the white side. And again, as you're going to see in this game, I get a nearly +2 advantage against Hikaru Nakamura with this gambit right here. So it's very dangerous, very sound as well. And okay, here black takes. I mean, if you're not going to take, then we're luring your king out to f7. So this isn't one of those gambits where you can go, I'm good, I'm not going to take, and then you're fine. No, if you don't take, you're not fine. You have a king on f7. So black takes here. I end up playing d4, c5. You know, you can't play bishop d3 here and go for a little queen h5 mating idea on the short side diagonal, but bishop d3 is not considered to be a good move. It really just cuts off the queen from the defense of d4, and this bishop can be very strong on a square like b5 going forward. So I play this move knight f3, knight c6, and in this case, I should capture on c5. I should take this pawn on c5 and then play bishop b5, pinning this knight to the king. Now we have knight e5 ideas potentially. Again, going after this pin knight, you know, 2 pieces now, looking at queen h5. Black can crumble here very quickly. And let's say black plays something here like g6. What do? Queen to d4. Your knight's hanging. Your rook's hanging. You can save one of them, but you can't save both. You can't do it. So knight c6 here. Again, I should have captured first and then looked to play the move of bishop b5 if black ended up capturing back. But instead, I play the move bishop b5 right now. Not bad, right? I mean, we're still okay here, but you know, taking on c5 is better, right? It is slightly better. So a6 is played here. I ended up capturing on c6, castling kingside. I have a great position here. The engine loves it. I love this position. e5 is played. Now, at this point in time, as you can see, I have 50 seconds left for this game. Hikaru has 54. So you know, I'm down a little bit on the clock. I know 4 seconds doesn't sound like anything, but in bullet chess, it definitely adds up, especially when you're playing someone like Hikaru that's moving so freaking fast. And yeah, in this case, I ended up capturing back with the pawn. So Hikaru here, I mean, that's a strong move, right? That's a strong move. I mean, I'm saying that like I'm surprised or something. But e5. You know, this pawn on e6 is just so hard to play with. It really is. It's just hard to play with. It's backwards. It feels isolated, even though it's connected to the d pawn. And it's just a big old weakness. And that pawn on e6 is really going to do nothing but give black a hard time. So Hikaru goes, you know what? I'm just going to give it back. I'm going to give it back, play e6, and develop my pieces. I play knight g5. Now, black can go very wrong here very quickly. Very quickly. For example, h6, well, we have a mating attack now. In fact, we have a forced mate. You can play g6 if you want to, but at some point you got to play king e7. We drop our queen on f7. That's mate. Or in this case, we could even take on e6. Either one, checkmate, and the game is over. Quick announcement, guys. For the rest of this year in 2024, I'm giving out a 30% off discount code for all 4 of my online courses. I got one on the Hippo, the Czech Pierce, the Ponziani Opening, and how to crush the Scandinavian defense. If you want 30% off on any of those courses, go down to the link below, go down to the pinned comment, plug in the discount code 2024, and you receive 30% off on any of those 4 courses. There's really only one move here for black that doesn't give white a winning or very close to winning position, and that would be the move of capturing on e5. And even that is very dangerous for the black side. But in the game here, we have knight b6. And yeah, again, nearly a +2 advantage. We're looking at like 1.5, 1.6 right now, give or take in that range. And yeah, the engine move here is queen g4. Makes sense. I only spent 2 seconds on this move, and I played queen d3. Still a solid move. Attacking the pawn on h7. Again, it's not a good idea to push that h-pawn because we're going to really go after that king like crazy. In the case, though, we have pawn to c4, and I play queen h3. We're targeting e6 twice. We're targeting h7. Guys, I'm playing up against a 3,200 rated player, and I'm pushing +2 in the eval. I'm pushing +2. I mean, this is following bishop e7. What I should do here is play f4. I should do that. If black takes, we're winning here. F takes g5. Sure, white's pawn structure is a mess, but so is black's. And I would say that our king safety and our development are both a lot better than black's. Our development here, we got 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces developed. Black has 1. King safety wise, our king, sure, it's on a long diagonal. It's not the safest king I've ever seen, but it's a heck of a lot better than the king on e8. The king cannot castle kingside because of our rook. And if you go queenside, I mean, look at your pawn structure. That doesn't look like a protective, solid, sound little cave to hide in. Far from that. An open field, whatever you want to call it. It's just not... it's not somewhere to hide in this kind of instance. So the king here is really, you know, it doesn't feel safe in the center. It doesn't feel safe on g8. You can't even go there, but it doesn't feel safe there. It doesn't feel good on c8. This is a great position for the white side. But in the game here, right, I have a great position here. f4 is a really good move. Queen h5 is a good move. Taking on e6 is a good move. But I ended up taking on h7. And there's only one move here for black that gives them the advantage. And of course, he finds it, king to d7, and now I'm like, oh gosh, I don't have knight f6 check ideas anymore going after that rook. It's not like the rook has to run out of dodge or anything. The king runs out of dodge. Now my knight's just straight up pinned. I play rook d1, but you know, queen g8 comes. I'm going to lose this knight. I don't know how to get out of it. There's really no way to do that. And I play knight e4, just to try to, you know, activate my pieces a little bit, but following queen takes h7. Here I ended up resigning the game. You know, I could keep playing it and try to push, you know, how many moves this game lasts. Right now we're at move 16 and I resign. I could keep playing, but to what end? For what reason? Right? I mean, I don't suspect that I'm going to outplay Hikaru in the endgame when I'm down a piece. But you know, you never know. I mean, you kind of do, but anyways, in this case, I resigned. But I just wanted to show you guys that game. It was a lot of fun for me to play someone of that caliber. And I'll add as well, right? I mean, again, this is bullet chess. This is bullet. But I didn't even play perfect theory here. Again, I should have captured first. And then if they take back, then play bishop b5. And this is a gambit here where it's just hard for black to play. I mean, Hikaru here is a strong player. This isn't his first game. He doesn't need much time to think in the opening unless you're talking about this one. Right, this is an opening where Hikaru very quickly ended up getting a much worse position than the white side. It's only move 13, and white is pushing for a win here. So, hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know if you want to see more, you know, Spielmann Gambit content. Really fun gambit for white against the Alekhine's defense. Of course, if you are playing against the Alekhine's defense directly, in order to reach that, you got to play knight c3. And then if d5 here from black going, you know what, I don't want to go into a Pierce. I don't want to go into e5 here and just play, you know, some kind of Italian game type opening. I just want to strike with d5 here. Well, okay, you have the chance to play e5. Of course, there's different things black can do there. But if they bring this knight back, which is a common idea, and oftentimes black can get a very nice, you know, French defense type structure, unless, of course, we just push our pawn to e6. And that French defense, you know, structure goes out the window. Not only is your bishop on c8 bad, but your bishop on f8 is horrible. and you have a pawn on e6. This king can often feel stuck, and really when you're playing this gambit, you're not trying to win in 8 moves. That's not the point of this. The point of this is to develop, get a positional advantage, and out of that, get an attacking advantage, because your king's safer, their king's not. You have better development, more pressure, and eventually as you keep adding more and more and more pressure, again, not little tricks or traps, but more pressure over time, the black king will fall. Okay, that's the idea there. Hope you enjoy this one. Peace. Guys, I hope y'all enjoyed today's video, and just a quick reminder that in addition to the 30% off all online courses sale this month, we wanted to also give a 20% off sale on our physical merch all December. We got shirts, hoodies, mugs, and more on the merch shelf below, and we got a lot more on the website, so check them out and use the code WINTER20 for 20% off. On top of that, I wanted to give a big shout out to my Patreon supporters for the month of December in 2024. I appreciate you guys a ton. It's been great getting to know you. And yeah, I'm just humbled by your support. And if you guys haven't thought about joining the Patreon community before, there's some exclusive benefits that you gain by becoming a member. And I look forward to seeing you over there on the platform. Peace.